What you are seeing in front of you now, you can see members of the March and March. There are also parents whose children have not yet been placed. Now this means that they have not been taken into the school, and also for them to be able to sit and learn in the classroom. So over the past week, we had seen quite a high police presence in the school, just to ensure that everything is under control and that they are able to manage the crowd. And what is happening at the moment is that you are seeing quite a number of parents making their way into the school premises. Now they are off to collect their children, and as you can see, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon right now, and it is of course almost time for school to actually come out. What the school had also been doing, since there had been chaotic scenes since the start of the 2026 academic year. Over here, they have been keeping the school children inside, and of course they would have to be collected by their parents. But we have also seen quite a number of clashes between South Africans as well as some foreign nationals outside this very same school gates. And what they had been calling for, now I'm talking about the members of the March and March as well as the South Africans, they have been calling for the school children that are South Africans to be prioritized, Stephen, when it comes to the placement. And over the past couple of weeks as well, we have also seen the Department of Education also intervening. There have been also figures that have been released here, as there had been quite a high cause of accountability that had been called for. There have been transparency that had also been called for here. And what we were told just last week when it comes to the numbers here, what we know is that there had been around 584 children of foreign nationals, and then from the 548, there has been 12 of them that had been identified to have been undocumented. So now the big question which had been lying with South Africans, they have been saying that how can such a high number of foreign nationals be accommodated in the school when there's quite a high number of children who are South Africans who are without space in school as well. And also just to make reference, to those scenes, how ugly they actually turned, Stephen. We had at some point seen the crowd being dispersed with, stun grenades. There have also been times where they had been sprayed with the water by the police. And what I can tell you is that things are a bit calmer, well, at least at the moment. And when it comes to such pickets, I can say that you can never ever say you fully know or you are fully aware of the direction that things are going to take. One moment you'd actually see much calmer scenes, but then the next it would be chaotic scenes. Now, in addition to this, there have also been flood victims that we had been told. Now, you remember floods 2022? There had been children that we had been told have not been able to find space in school, Stephen, and really as a measure to ensure that those children are actually afforded space here. Now, the March and March members as well as the parents without these children have not yet been placed have actually told us that they will be coming here tomorrow and they will have these children in their school uniforms and they would have to be admitted inside the school, because already they have been missing out on so much work since the beginning of the 2026 academic year. Quite some time has passed, but some parents are still concerned. Some children are still in limbo when it comes to the placement. As you can see now, just pickets going on, but of course there are also children which are being taken home by their parents, and parents have been making sure that they actually come here to pick up their parents on their own. Some of them had also been saying to us that they are concerned because when you look at some of the violent scenes that we have seen over the last week, they had also been telling us really that they are quite afraid, they are quite concerned about the safety of their children, and that it's about time really for the law enforcement, or at least also for government to kind of assist in ensuring that situation is quite calmer over here. We did also hear though from the ANC's Dr. Sibongiseni Dlomo, who was here just last week had been saying that protesters need to be quite calm here, and he has asked the public to refrain from, continuing with these chaotic pickets, saying that one, it does not only affect those who are outside here, well, at least also children when they enter the school or when they make their way home, but also it's kind of disruptive when it comes to the academic, calendar, and also the lessons, the teaching and learning that is happening inside there. And some of them have been really saying that their children have been quite traumatized by the scenes that they have been seeing here outside the school. But as things stand, not much difference, except for the fact that these parents, South Africans, members of the March and March movement, are still calling for the placement of these children. We do know, though, that this particular school has reached its full capacity when it comes to the admission, although there have been calls for more spaces to be made available. But of course, the department did say that this school can no longer accept any more children at this point, and that they would have to look into ways where they will be assisting parents without placed school children, maybe in terms of them being accommodated at other schools that are nearby. But now, when it comes to that particular idea, or at least that solution, there have been quite a number of concerns now coming from the parents, Stephen, who have been saying that if these children are placed in schools that are elsewhere, which are quite as distant from here, who is going to carry the burden to ensure that they are transported safely to and from school? They are looking at the financial costs when it comes to the transportation element of it. So they are quite adamant that the children that need to be here are children that are residing within this particular jurisdiction, and that they maintain that they should be brought into this school because it may be quite costly for them if they are taken to other schools, Stephen.
And Phila, obviously a very difficult situation for those children. We're even battling to try and keep them, their faces out of the shot. It's such a difficult story to report on. I mean, there seems to be no sense in which this tension will ease in some way. These protests have gone on in such a sustained manner, despite the Education Department explaining the real numbers.
You know, Stephen, I'm actually struggling to hear you there because of the noise in the background. But of course, as you can see, we're going to avoid them. They are making their way home. But really, when it comes to the KZN Education Department, we did have the KZN Education Department spokesperson actually visit the school. They've also been in engagement with the school principal as well. And at this particular point, really, as things stand, parents only left with the option to actually pick it out here. The last time we were here, they actually had told us that there were at least 60 parents whose children were actually unplaced in the school. And of course, this now was a figure that had been recorded in just one day. We do know that the day before that, there was also another figure adding on to that. So it's quite a high number of children that remain unplaced here. But it seems also as if what is happening here is not now really limited to the issue around illegal immigration, the issue around foreign nationals, or the placement of children, but it also stretches to the issue of immigration as well, because they've also been chancing, now these are the picketers, they've been chancing here that foreign nationals just need to go. At some points, they've also been saying that whether they are documented or they are undocumented, it just boils down to the fact for them that it is the South African children that need to be given preference, saying that the resources which are actually being allocated to South African children are now being used by foreign nationals. But of course, as I've already told you, the situation is quite calmer. It can get more hectic than what we are seeing here. We had seen the visuals last week on how bad things had gotten out of control, but quite a high number of police presence at this point, just ensure that everything is really under control. But of course, the members are still also chanting here and singing struggle songs, saying that they are just, also constructing this and carrying these pickets as a way of reclaiming their country. They've also been calling on government to really saying that governments need to be forthcoming, and that there hasn't been much involvement when it comes to the government side, especially when it comes to the issue here at Addington Primary School. Stephen, it's back to you.
Phila Mthembu, thank you very much indeed, outside the Addington Primary School after such a difficult time there with those protests.